Dollar stores have become a major part of American retail, to a point where millions of people across the country rely on them. I'm guessing that a lot of the people watching this shop at them regularly. Now, the specific strategies vary quite a bit between the different chains, but the overall idea is to open a bunch of smaller locations in communities that may have trouble accessing those large big box stores. In the United States, the top 3 dollar store chains combine for 37,000 locations, and I think that almost anyone would agree that Family Dollar has stood out lately as the least successful of those 3. Dollar General has way more locations than any other retailer in the country, surpassing 20,000 of them in 2024. Dollar Tree opened its 9,000th location in 2025, that, keep in mind, tend to have more square footage than the other dollar store chains. Meanwhile, Family Dollar has been closing locations, recently becoming the smallest of the 3. I mean, just looking at that graph, you can tell that Family Dollar has been moving in the wrong direction, but potentially the biggest evidence of a decline is the fact that Family Dollar has lost a lot of its value. In 2015, it was acquired by Dollar Tree for over $8 billion. Dollar General was actually bidding more money for it, but there were fears concerning regulatory approval given the fact that Dollar General was already so big, so the sale ultimately went to Dollar Tree. For the next decade, they struggled to operate the 2 brands alongside each other until 2025, when they sold it to a couple of private equity firms for a little over $1 billion, considerably less than they had paid for it, and helping to expose how much the brand had fallen. So in this video, I would like to explore the history of Family Dollar while identifying what I believe to be some of the biggest reasons behind its decline. Starting off the list with maybe the most direct reason: economic factors. See, much like Dollar General, Family Dollar has always tried to attract lower income customers. That has been their entire thing. Way back when seeking out places to build a new store, I guess the founder, Leon Levine, would search for oil stains in the parking lot because that likely meant people who could not afford to fix their car were living nearby. And as you could imagine, there's always been controversy surrounding this approach, specifically when they started selling tobacco products in 2012 and then alcohol products in 2019. Lately, as you may already know, lower income individuals have been dealing with inflation and stricter requirements for SNAP benefits, so they simply cannot afford to spend as much at Family Dollar, or any other of the dollar stores for that matter. Dollar General has been having its own issues, and 99-cents only stores even filed for bankruptcy in 2024. That same year, the CEO of Dollar Tree, which remember was the owner of Family Dollar, said Family Dollar is a victim of the macro environment out there, and consider that when times are tough, people are more willing to overlook convenience and travel a little further to somewhere else that might have better prices. It is pretty straightforward that their customer base has been facing tough times, and that has led to lower sales at Family Dollar. So moving on to the next reason behind their decline, Walmart, and there are so many ways that we can look at this. I would argue that historically, the main competition for dollar store chains has not been other dollar store chains, it has been Walmart. Throughout the 1980s, Walmart was aggressive and grew to become the country's #1 retailer, partially by targeting smaller communities, many of which already had a Family Dollar. The idea there was that Walmart would build a store that was maybe 10 times bigger, offering a better selection at better prices, and that would motivate people to overlook the convenience of their local Family Dollar and travel a little bit further to the Walmarts. So then, Family Dollar responded by opening a bunch of stores in higher population urban areas. Pretty much the exact opposite of what they were doing before, and to this day, if you're in a bigger city, your chances of seeing a Family Dollar are much higher than any other of these dollar stores, despite having fewer locations overall. They were the only ones to do this in a big way, and the strategy remains questionable, partially because of the specific placement of these new stores. There may have been a bit of a rush to scale the business so that they can keep up with Walmart's prices, leading to poorly researched decisions and stores that are simply too close to each other. Think about that, if a new Family Dollar is stealing sales away from an existing Family Dollar, that becomes an inefficient operation, and is part of the reason that they have been closing locations. Not to mention the fact that real estate and rent expenses tend to be more costly in urban areas, and crime rates tend to be higher. So now shoplifting and security costs have become an issue for them. To summarize here, Walmart kind of threatened their original plan, and the adjustments that they made have led to some ongoing issues. Going back to the list, I do not think that being acquired by Dollar Tree was the best thing that could have happened to them. Despite being categorized as dollar stores, I would not say that the two of them are all that similar. Dollar Tree targets comparatively higher income individuals in suburban communities, they sell fewer essentials, and they have always been much more concerned with that $1 or I guess now $1.25 price point. Given the fact that the two are more different than it might initially seem, it was difficult to integrate the businesses and to find potential operational efficiencies. It might be boring to go into too many details here, but in 2020, they even started opening combo locations. You have to admit, that is kind of a cool idea to have two stores under one roof like that, but much like the companies themselves combining, I do not think that there was ever much benefit to doing it, and now that they are separating, it looks like most of those are going to become Family Dollars. In the end, I think most people can look back and say that the merger was a bad idea for both companies. In fact, I would argue that the biggest impact from it is the next reason on my list, the departure of the LeVine family. Family Dollar was a fitting name because for over 50 years, it was very much a family company. Let me tell you that the LeVine family has an extensive history in the retail industry, starting out with Harry LeVine, who operated an old general store in Rockingham, North Carolina for many years before he died in 1947, and at that point his wife and kids took it over, specifically his son Leon LeVine, who was only 12 years old at the time. By 1955, the first Dollar General opened in Scottsville, Kentucky. It was considered to be the first ever dollar store, and it sparked a bit of a craze throughout the South where people started opening their own versions of dollar stores. Leon LeVine saw one of these stores while visiting Tennessee and was motivated to invest $6,000 to open his own dollar store near his hometown in Charlotte, North Carolina. He says that for the first 10 years leading up to it becoming a public company, he would commonly work 16 hours a day, and he remained dedicated long after that. Now, his son, Howard LeVine, who was less than a year old when he opened that first store, took over as CEO in 1998, and he took over as chairman of the board 5 years later when Leon officially retired from the business. By the time Leon left, Family Dollar was a Fortune 500 company with around 5,000 locations. My point here is that the LeVine family clearly had a long-time personal attachment to the business. Of course, not all the decisions were ideal during that time, and it can be debated that Howard had trouble living up to his father's legacy, but at the very least, there was consistency and passion behind the scenes. Well, in 2014, famous investor Carl Icahn bought a 9.4% stake in Family Dollar. He essentially criticized Howard's leadership and pushed for major changes within the company. That is what led to the Dollar Tree acquisition and Howard leaving shortly after. Moving on to my next reason behind the decline of Family Dollar, and that is the fact that the stores have been poorly maintained. Now, you might be thinking that is kind of the case with all of these dollar stores, right? They're not known for being the cleanest or the most organized, but I think Family Dollar has developed a little bit more of a reputation for it. I would be curious to hear about your experiences, but Family Dollar has had issues keeping the shelves stocked and orderly with the appropriate products. A lot of it stems back to supply chain issues involving shipping and distribution centers. The big thing that stands out here would be a $42 million fine paid in 2024 that the Justice Department described as the largest ever monetary criminal penalty in a food safety case. Disturbingly, inspectors from the FDA found a bunch of rodents at one of their warehouses in Arkansas, and part of that report said that there were dead rodents of various states of decay. You might want to look a little further into that one because there are some surprising parts to it, and it represents a bigger issue of neglecting to maintain their facilities and some of their stores. All of it giving customers further reason to travel a little bit further to get to that Walmart or wherever else. My final reason on the list is really going to be more of a reflection of the other reasons, and that is low profit margins. More than the others, Family Dollar emphasizes the sale of essential items, like groceries, that tend to have lower profit margins, meaning they have to sell more of those items to make the same amount of money. Do you see what I mean and how that can make things more difficult? On average, they only make 24 cents for every dollar sold, whereas Dollar General makes makes 30 cents and Dollar Tree makes 36 cents. So that margin has always been thin, and most of this video has been about factors that have complicated that issue. Family Dollar is comparatively more vulnerable to falling sales and rising costs, so this has been a dangerous combination of factors that have led to closing inefficient stores and a sizable reduction in value. Family Dollar is being left behind by those other companies, and it sure seems like it would take some major changes for them to reverse that trend. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about Family Dollar? Specifically, is it a good option for when you need something quick or do not want to travel too far? It just seems like there are not many fans of Family Dollar out there anymore. Their reputation has declined so much, so for anyone who prefers them over the others, what do you like about it? Or on the other end, it would still be interesting to hear about something that makes you dislike them more than the others. I also want to mention really quick that I made a video about all these dollar stores a few years ago, so I recommend watching that one if you want to hear more about the others and how they all compare to each other. And finally, the big question is, what do you see for the future? Will Family Dollar recover under this new ownership, or will it continue to fall? And any other thoughts you have about Family Dollar, leave them in the comments. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Thank you for watching.